Nigel Farage has become the first British politician to meet Donald Trump since he became US President-elect. A UKIP spokesman said the interim party leader discussed freedom and winning with Mr. Trump on a visit to Trump Tower in New York. Mr. Trump's spokeswoman Kellyanne Conway said the meeting had been very productive. Downing Street said Mr. Farage had no role in the government's relationship with the incoming U.S. administration. Speaking after the meeting, Mr. Farage said, "It was a great honor to spend time with Donald Trump. He was relaxed, and full of good ideas. I'm confident he will be a good president. His support for the US-UK relationship is very strong. This is a man with whom we can do business." Mr. Farage asked Mr. Trump to return a bust of Sir Winston Churchill to the White House Oval Office, a party spokesman said. Mr. Farage said he had been especially pleased by Mr. Trump's very positive reaction to the idea of the bust returning. Ms. Conway said the two men enjoy each other's company and they had the opportunity to talk about freedom and winning and what all this means for the world. A UKIP source said the meeting had made the Prime Minister look very foolish. Mr. Farage earlier told US media that Mrs. May's team had been quite rude about Mr. Trump, so there are some fences to be mended. Trump is an Anglophile, he understands and recognizes what our two great nations have done together between us, he told Fox News. And, thank goodness, we are coming towards the end of an American president who loathed Britain. One of the things we can do, we can have between us a sensible trade relationship, cut tariffs, we are massive investors in each other's countries. There's a bright future. Implausible. When asked ahead of the meeting if Mr. Trump had invited him, Mr. Farage joked to reporters, "We're just tourists." Mrs. May plans to visit Mr. Trump in the first 3 months of next year after his inauguration. Crispin Blunt, chairman of the Foreign Affairs Select Committee, described as completely implausible the idea that Mr. Farage would have an ambassadorial role in a Trump administration, telling the BBC there was no need for Nigel. Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn said he understood the appeal of Mr. Trump's rhetoric to people angry at being left behind by globalization, but he said the president-elect needed to grow up when it came to his views on immigration. Mr. Corbyn, whose wife is Mexican, said the U.S. economy was reliant on migrant labor and plans to build a wall on the border had caused anger and outrage. "I think the treatment of Mexico by the U.S., just as much as the absurd, abusive language to Muslims, is something that should be challenged and has to be challenged," he told the BBC's Andrew Marr show. UKIP and other right-wing parties did not have the answer to increasing economic marginalization and inequality, he said.